Yo, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? We are going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly with what's going on in the market in the last week, guys. Yo, this has been a story that's been kind of popping and brewing here, and it's got good things and bad things about it. Let's dig in. Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yo, hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Yo, that's what's up, guys. As you all are sliding on in here, certainly smash that lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff, guys. Yo, that helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Maybe share this out on your favorite social media. Help me get the word out to more of you awesome people out there. That's right. That's right. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. I certainly did. Watching Bitcoin tank and then take back off here. It's like, really? If I would have waited just a little bit of time, I wouldn't have had to spend so many Satoshis to pay my bills. Oh, whatever. Whatever. It is what it is, right? So hopefully everybody's happy. Yo, what up, Crypto Bedell? Coming in hot and heavy with those FAs. Because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into this. The day's today's worth of news, right? I mean, we're always sitting here trying to figure out good deals and good good mining hardware in general, guys. So if you are looking for what looks like to be a little bit of a combo deal, there's some good deals to be had out here that will be decent for mining. And you might think weird about this when I'm sitting here going, this is decent for mining. We are dealing with a AM5 CPU. It's got RAM, CPU, motherboard for $500 plus tax. That's actually not that bad of a deal. 6,000 megahertz per second transfer, So, I mean, like, that's really not that bad. So, two 16 gigabyte sticks on there. I mean, I would, if I was on a budget, bro, this would be it. Absolutely. And the motherboard has one Gen 4 on, it's like all of these are all capable of being able to mine with caveat proof of useful work. Just saying, guys, you can do proof of useful work with this motherboard if you're wanting to go down that route. I mean, you might not be able to slot all the GPUs on there, and you're going to have to use an actual. You can't use the by one adapters. You need at least a by. It needs to be a by four PCIe lanes. So it has to be slotted in the motherboard. Which then the only other way that you're going to be able to pull it off the motherboard is if you're doing this all on riser cables. No, I do not have mine accessible. I have a riser cable that I was thinking I was going to use on my particular build, but my case did not allow me to do the things that I had configured in my noggin, so I had to abort that. So I have a I think it's PCIe 4. think so. Could be wrong. But anyway, uh, and so I mean, you'd be able to sit there as long as you match it up, and you've got full lanes, full data lanes on this. It doesn't have to be gaming quality, but at least you get full lanes on this, and you'll be able to slot more cards into this and be able to use them with proof of useful work. Not a whole lot of them, unfortunately. If you guys are looking to be mining proof of useful work moving forward, be careful of even the server chassis that you're grabbing, right? A lot of these server chassis are, even though they're riserless motherboards, right? You would think they have full lanes, but when you go into the description of them boards, the boards are actually by ones. And because they're by one, it's like you're just eliminating some of the pieces out of the riser system, but it's still a riser setup on there. So you're getting a by one adapter on there, so you're not getting full data lanes. So it's not going to be useful for proof of useful work. I have a bunch of server chassis that are not going to be able to mine with proof of useful work on Flux. But you can sit there, and if you got a few cards that you're trying to update off of, so that you can get to utilize the proof of useful work, something like this might be. You're not going to be as efficient as some of the more specifically built hardware for proof of useful work, especially stuff that's going to be tailored for Flux. Something like this is not gonna. I'm not sure if it's going to be spec'd out enough to be able to do Flux per se, but it will be able to do any other variation of proof of useful work. So like Dynex. I'd be curious to see if I took two cards of the same style, or take the same card, put it onto a riser, mine Dynex, plug it into the motherboard, mine Dynex again, and see what the hash rate difference is. I mean, you're probably looking at really nominal, but it adds up if if every hash counts, as they say, right? Trying to get into newer motherboards that mine and stuff like that, this could be something to look into if you're on a budget. If I was on a budget, I'd probably pimp this out for myself. Really. If I didn't have my Threadripper, I'd probably buy this. For $500, that's a decent setup. Then you just get a good GPU in there, a 1,000-watt power supply. Good, you're golden with a setup like this. And then you could toss in another card on there and start mining while you're gaming. And it's like a lot of the miners. It was kind of funny because some of this kind of came up because of the Goblin dude earlier when I was working out this morning. He's like, can I sit there and mine and game at the same time? And I'm like, hell yeah, you can. If you got another card in there, oh yeah, whatever is slotted into slot 0, you can tell the mining software not to mine with that. And mine with the other cards that are in there. Just make sure that you got good airflow. Otherwise, you're going to see a little bit of a performance hit on mining wise, but 100% you can take one of the GPUs off of the duty cycle. I said duty. And let it relax a little bit, and do what you need to do with your PC while the other cards are mining away, depending on how many slots you have. I mean, that's the perk of getting a non-specific mining motherboard, is that you're in newer hardware, and which means that it's usable still as a daily driver. Drawback: you don't have as many PCIe lane availability. Now, if you are not doing proof of useful work and you're just doing regular mining, you can sit there and get a U-bit 4-way splitter onto here and have one card slotted in for your daily driver and have the other one slotted in with a couple of U-bit 4-way splitters in there, and you can be sitting there mining away on a bunch of GPUs, and your gaming rig could be a mining rig that has only one card not mining while you're sitting there. What you would do to mitigate the heat not just radiating onto you, that you're going to be a little inventive about that. But if you're committed to the cause, you'll figure a way out. I mean, that's just my way. He's like, I actually figured out how to run one GPU at a time, as well as having both run. Nice. I was just talking about that because of that question being triggered this morning. From you, my dude. I'm giving you the credit on that. So I mean, most of the mining software have a way to bake in to where I can shut down one of the GPUs or all the GPUs. I can tell the miner what GPUs to use, what not to use. I can have it use every other one, and then every other. It's like this way. I don't know why you would do it, but it can be done. Okay, is what I'm saying. But you could sit there, have NVIDIA, AMD, NVIDIA, AMD, NVIDIA, AMD, and have an NVIDIA miner on there, and have an AMD miner on, or have a miner that are good for AMD and NVIDIA, and you could tell the miner and not use any of the AMD stuff, and then have an AMD specific miner that you're mining off of too. I mean, there are so many different ways of doing everything, but yeah, there's ways of shutting GPUs off, 100%. And I'm glad you figured it out, my dude. He's like, I'm actually mining, gaming, and watching your stream right now. Yo, that's what's up. That's what's up. I typically do that too. I've got a since I fixed my water loop, I've got a massive bubble in my upper radiator, and whenever I go to clean this thing next, I'm gonna work on getting that bubble out of my upper radiator because it's really annoying and it's thermally hindering the performance of the PC a little bit. So yeah, I will fix that. But it's like such a pain in the butt to wrestle this thing out of here. I'm not sure when I want to do that. I might just do that this next weekend. I said that this last weekend that I wanted to pull it out. So I guess I can't procrastinate forever. I have to unplug my 24 pin, move a hose so that it's pointed up instead of out, and plug that back in. Because I think that's how I originally had it. I remember unplugging it because something was interfering whenever I was slapping everything back together, and this might have been it. So we'll definitely get that sorted out. And yeah, hopefully I'll get everything going. Hey, what up, Sarth? What's going on, my dude? But yeah, I keep procrastinating. That's just, I'll do that this weekend for sure. It's usually not something I like to do during the week, unless my computer's like overheating because it has ingested cat, fur. It's open. There's no filters on this thing. I'm giving it all the cooling, which gives it all the fur too. Drawbacks, drawbacks for sure, guys. So that is pretty much like kind of some of the deals that have been starting to come out, which to me I absolutely like this idea. There has just been deals upon deals upon deals. If you wanted to get some entry-level GPUs, even Intel is starting to get more on the cheaper side as time goes on. For $120, you're now able to get 3060 Ti, 3060 performance. I mean, there's still some things that they can improve on with the Intel stuff, but you know what? Not bad. I'm not gonna, it's like this is not bad for $120. So if you wanted to build a little gaming rig on a budget, perfect. Mining wise, you're kind of hit and miss on which ones are going to be decent, for when they're going to be decent mining, right? There's not a lot of miners supporting this, mining software supporting this quite yet still. So, I mean, as time comes on, as more of these start coming out, more people have them. there might be more of a necessity of building with them, and especially if by their next generation, which is supposed to be their Battle Mage series. So this is the Alchemist series. When they come out with a Battle Mage, I'm hoping they're going to have a lot more refinement. They're going to learn what they did wrong, what they did right on these, and kind of just go back to the drawing boards and fix a lot of stuff. Drivers are definitely something that needs to be looked at still from Intel, but they've been out long enough that they should be in a better position than where they're at right now. This is not like a small little company, putting their foot into the game. This is a large company that's making a big investment in getting it back into the GPU industry. If they're not going to do it, and just kind of commit to it, it's like, guys, it's hard to sit there and support it when there's still so many issues with it. But at the same time, it is a usable platform. It does what it needs to do, and it can mine. So, I mean, I can't complain a whole lot about it. But for $120 on an A380, not bad. Not bad. And they don't take much power, so you don't need a bunch of fans on there. It's not really needed. So, I mean, seeing the prices come down on this, and, we are seeing China's having issues with, they have so many shipping containers just sitting in their ports now. They are not the shipping giants that they used to be before COVID hit. So because of that, we are going to start seeing some of these price drops because they are desperately trying to get people to start buying these things. So I mean, we'll see how much they'll let the price of these things bottom out, because there are some companies in China right now that they are almost sitting there selling their products at a loss. Not so much computer products in general, but I'm saying industry whole. There are places that are sitting there and practically giving away their stuff at a loss, just so that they can generate some kind of revenue coming in. And it's becoming a bidding war, because, and you can see it when you look at the major ports. So I'm gambling on saying that I would say that we're going to start seeing prices start really dropping on this stuff, and to continue into some of this stuff, right? Just kind of continuing into that whole thing, we're going to start seeing prices drop. Here is some 3090s, some 4090s. So 3090, $1,300 brand new. A 4090 for $1,600. MSI 18. We're going to start seeing these prices come down. We know that NVIDIA does not like to drop their prices down unless they are motivated to. So we really haven't seen huge price drop backs on these things. So like this Gigabyte GeForce here was almost $1,900. It's now $1,698. Founders editions, that somebody's scalping over here. Then we start getting into scalping prices, or people trying to say that they're still the same price as day one launch, because they don't want to drop the price too much further. And then you can look at now we can sit there and start looking at like these bad boys here. These are the 7900 XTs, $830. So we got a little more than $100 drop on this for something that was already under $1,000. That's a pretty hefty price drop back on that. Power Color dropping down in price, like that one. I mean, we're just starting to see this stuff. I mean, the AMD Power Color 7900 XT, after taxes and everything, bro, you're $1,000. Now you'll be like, about $930, $940, right? Coming right down that product stack. A regular Sapphire Pulse, $921. This was $1,000 GPU originally. Sapphire Pulses are damn good cards, guys. The Sapphire Nitros, you won't really see these come down in price because these are just like these are like the one of the better AMD cards out there. It's like I got hooked on with the Sapphires, with the Sapphire Blue Nitros, with the RX 580s. So they performed phenomenally. Very well put together card, good coolers usually, and they are the top performers in the AMD stack lineup next to the Power Color Red Devil editions. That would be their only other competitor in that lineup. Ventus, you can get a 3060 Ventus for $364 now. I mean, we are starting to see all these prices starting to slowly come down, guys. Because, let's be real about it, what are people most concerned about right now? It's not buying GPUs. It's not putting together computers. They're worried about putting food on their table and keeping a roof over their head moving forward. Especially, with the economy the way it is. We'll dig into that one in just a moment. Celestial is coming to 4080 performance. Nice. What up, John Germain? What up, my dude? And let me just give this a really quick refresh. Sometimes things change in real time. And then, we have people like myself that have been into the ASIC scene I've been in the ASIC scene since about 2018. ASICs and GPUs, I got on board with both of them at the same time. So I'm not hating on one or the other. They're both there for a reason. They both have purposes. So as of right now, with the market starting to come back up, Bitmain has always been the better go-to ASIC miner for power efficiency. But what does that mean for me and you at home, right? A lot of this stuff, you ain't going to run at home, bro. I'm just going to put it out there like that. You can if you wanted to send it over to the Family Mine LLC. Oh, shameless plug. I know. But, I mean, you're sitting here looking at this product stack here. And you'll notice a big theme on here. You look at the power, an L7, 9.5 gigahash, 3,425 watts. You ain't running that on 110, bro. You got to be on 220, minimum. 220, 240. That's where these things run, okay? So with that being said, now you're talking about, a 30 amp dedicated circuit for this. A 30 amp dedicated circuit is going to give you right around 6,000 watts worth of power, right at 30 amps. So you have 6,000 watts to play with. Now note that you put something on 220, 240 volt, your amperage drops on there. So you can push more wattage for less amperage. It's the Ohm's law thing on there. So it works very nicely. So with this being said, we don't want to go 80% over our limit on the outlet, right? Outlets are only rated for so much heat. So when you start utilizing more into the upper echelon of that amperage load, you start overheating circuits, you start making a toaster out of your wiring, yada, yada, yada. Hey, what up, Ark? What up? So these are a lot of these ASICs that are on this on the ASICminervalue.com are things that I would not recommend a standard person to run at their house unless they're putting in dedicated 30 amp circuits for your ASIC miners. This is just these are how you have to run them. This is how I run them at the Family Mine LLC, at the Family Mine. Everything gets its own dedicated. When it comes down to ASICs, I don't go above 80% on those circuits. I might put a big bad boy ASIC on there with like a mini Doge, right? something that's low power usage, that's not going to be a big impact on that same circuit, because you do have that thermal headroom. So I'm playing with the thermals on this. I'm playing with the amount of amperage, the amount of wattage, all this stuff, so that I also don't trip off circuit breakers. Everything has to be just running flawlessly. So 3,000 watts period. It's not something that you're going to see somebody be able to run at their house, typically, without putting in a dedicated circuit. So now, if you're wanting to get into mining and all you got is 110s sitting around, and you're not going to sit there and put in a 220, 240 volt circuit in here, you're not going to be looking at these most profitable ASICs that are at the top, right? You're going to be coming down this product substack. 2,000 watts, still too high wattage to run on 110. 110, you are 1,800 watts on 110. So you're coming down this product stack. So this Jazzminer X16Q at 630 watts, that would be a pretty viable one once it gets released. Jazzminer's been out for a little bit. The Jazzminer X4, if you can find them used, that's not too bad. 1,200 watts. Again, you can run two of these on a single 110 circuit. This Wutzminer M56S, 5,550 watts. Yeah, you ain't running this on your 110. You're putting that onto a 50 amp circuit. Something like this is just not viable doing. Hey, what up, Key Point? It's like, Key Point, I don't have any money to buy equipment to put at the family mine, though I would invest in it if I could. I mean, it depends on what your investment level is, but I mean, talks can be had. What up, ham and cheese? He's like, just unplug the dryer or the electric oven that uses 220 volt 30 amp. You certainly can do that, ham and cheese. 100%. That name is funny. I love it. You certainly could, but you're not, it's like most people don't run it quite like that. How can I put it? Like, most people are also not going to be unplugging it might work at first until the girlfriend or the wife gets mad at you. Because she's like, could you unplug your garbage so I can do cook food, or can you unplug your garbage so that I can do the laundry? She's gonna get old with that quick. I mean, unless she's really cool about it and she's like, oh, I got this, bink, bink, bink. Then you got to keep her. But most people want something that's nice and convenient, nice and easy to deploy. So I mean, at home, it makes more sense to utilize lower wattage stuff. A Jazzminer X4Q. Jazzminer X4Q, 480 watts, making $1.16 a day, right? So you can buy a bunch of these things, deploy them, and be making making profit. I mean, this is at 12 cents a kilowatt hour. I believe that's how this is stock on the site. 12 cents a kilowatt hour. So this is all at, I don't know about you. At my house, I'm just a little over 11 cents a kilowatt hour with all the service charges and everything. My effective rate is what I like to call it. My effective rate is like 11's, just a little over 11 cents a kilowatt hour. My base kilowatt hour is like 6.2, something like that. So, I mean, you can see how much it jumps. So never look at what the base electric cost is going to be. Look at what the effective rate is. That's your bottom line. You have to make more than that to come out of to even sniff what they say is profits. Now, if you're just mining because you're like, hey, I don't even care, I'm solo mining, this is my lottery ticket, then you are mining for a whole different reason. than most people. And you can get yourself whichever one, but you're not going to be getting these big bad boy units, right? So like, you're like, hey, I love playing with, I can set up my own radiator and liquid cooling system. Let me go ahead and get a Bitmain Antminer S19 Pro Hydro Edition. That bad boy pulls 5,445 watts plus the pump that you're going to need for it, plus cooling fans on the radiator, because you ain't passively cooling this bad boy. This thing is going to throw out a ton of heat. And, it's like, yeah, so you're not going to be pulling in a whole lot of wattage. You're going to be pulling in a whole lot of wattage. But if you're not at the right power level, I mean, you're making 52 cents a day at 12 cents a kilowatt hour. Does it make sense to run that? No. Especially if I can get myself a Jasminer X4Q that can make $1.16 a day at 480 watts. I can deploy more of these and actually make more than I would mining Bitcoin at home. And I can convert all of that, because that should be mining Ethereum Classic. I can convert all of that into Bitcoin on the other side. You see where that goes, right? I mean, a lot of the stuff you can just, like every time I refresh, a lot of times, like I can refresh it periodically through the day and a different miner will be at the top. Now we've got the Bitmain Antminer KA3 166 terahash is now the winner so far at $13.51 a day, if you can even get your hands on one of these bad boys. But again, at 3,154 watts, that's not something that most people are equipped to deal with. So for 220 L6 twist lock is the correct receptacle. Correct, Patrick. That is correct. That is just one of the plugs, that the receptacles that you can utilize. You can use a 4-prong and still be 220, 240 volt. So it's just got the integrated ground with it. So you'll still have your 2 hots, your neutral, and ground, and that'll make up your 4-prong. So you can have the L6, which is 2 hots and neutral with an external ground, or you do it all through the wiring. So I mean, it depends on how your dryer is set up. Also, if you're going to be able to utilize your dryer or an electric stove, if that's what your house is equipped with. My house is not equipped like that. I don't have that option at my particular house. I have a gas stove and I have a gas dryer. So none of my stuff back there is on 220, 240 volt. So yeah, I don't have that option for myself. So I ran my own 220. I've got 230 amp circuits in my mining room that I personally put in. But again, most people don't do that. At my house, I had a spare breaker because I swapped out the electric stove for a gas stove. Nice. And that's, that's how you're able to, put an ASIC on there. But, you can put ASICs or GPUs onto that same circuit. Most modern power supplies auto switch because it's the same power supply sold in Britain as is sold in here. So, and in Britain, everything's on 220. Everything's wired 220 in Britain. So the same power supply sold there is here. So all they change is the plug. I've got old power supplies that had a manual switch depending on what region you were in. That's all it was. So, I mean, it just depends on the age of your power supply. Depends on if it's got that capability or not. But yeah, it shouldn't be an issue for most places, which is nice. But it's like, for me personally, if I'm going to dedicate a 30 amp circuit, now this is just my idea, my thoughts and how I grow, how I was able to get myself growing with to a point where I'm at right now, right? I mean, beyond me being in my 40s and have worked a bazillion years, and saving money up and all this other stuff, good side hustles, everything. Was I just kind of looked at where would my dollars go best bang for my buck, right? What's going to earn me more and I can deploy what's going to be cost effective, earn me more, and I can deploy as many of them as I possibly can. I'm going to start looking at lower wattage stuff and seeing if it averages out to being more than one of the top paying stuff, because something that's going to make me $13 to $20 a day is going to come with a price tag with a few zeros behind it, right? It's going to be a 1 and 3 zeros minimum. And, it's like, and if I can get something that's, let's say, $400 to $600 a piece, I'm going to be a lot happier on deployment of that, knowing that it's not only that I'm getting something that's a little bit lower hash rate, a little bit lower profitability, but it's a lot. I can deploy more of them on each one of my 20 amp circuits. So that's how I kind of started off with, and why whenever I first got wrapped up into mining in 2018, I deployed 1070s and like they were 1070 and 1070 Ti's, and deployed 10 of them because I was like, oh, I can run all that on my circuit. All right, we're good. It was a good jumping point. So I mean, it depends on where you're at with your mining. Do you have old hardware? Are you trying to update stuff to have more modern hardware so that you don't get muscled out of the mining market because your hardware is too outdated, right? It's not like I'm going to go out of my way and start grabbing RX 580s. No, I have one singular rig of RX 580s. If it gets to a point, I will liquidate those. I am not attached to them. Whenever they no longer suit their purpose, they gone. DJ Mine is live streaming door dashing. Oh my god. Oh god, that is too funny, Golden Wolf. That is too funny. He's like on his way to like, what is it, $100,000 or something like that. So I wish him the best of luck. I do. It's like good for him. Good for him. So, I mean, for me, again, I'd be looking at one of these lower power things, gold shells that are low power. You can deploy a whole bunch of them. And a lot of this stuff depends on your price. I mean, where your electric price is at the end of the day, guys. You got to remember that whenever we get into mining, we're trying to be as efficient as possible. So if you are in California, it's not conducive of you to be mining. Ever. California hates you. And they hate the idea that you have money that you can spend on this. So they bleed you dry. I mean, they don't even want you turning on your AC unit. That's why it's like 50 cents per kilowatt hour. It's like, that's what happens when you push all the means of production of power out of your state. You have to import it all, and that is big bucks and big money. Congratulations, California. You are slowly killing your economy off. DNA Tech, DJ Dash. Man, that sounds like a name you would hear at a porn club. We got DJ Dash on the decks. Oh my god. That is awesome. So, I mean, it's like we've got to be careful of where we're deploying money, capital out. Bitcoin is more of an industrial game. As the hash rate goes up It muscles out the home miner because you do not have the capability to continuously add on to the system. Unlike GPU mining, it works for home miners. Why? Because I can sell off my old hardware and buy new hardware. And that new hardware is going to get me the same, if not more, hash rate in one card. You know, you start getting a more efficiency factor as you update over time. So, I mean, and that's where I tell people, I'm like, just get rid of it. If it's not making you money, no hard feelings. Just get rid of it. It's an inanimate object. It's not going to know that you sold it. I promise. It doesn't need a safe space before you sell it. You know, just saying. It's like you should be always considering updating your hardware and what it would take to update said hardware. Now, if you were in a spot where I can't sit there and update. I mean, I get it. Maybe you're selling more of your old hardware to get one of the newer hardware, knowing you're going to drop your hash rate down, but you're going to have a card that's way more power efficient, so it's not going to cost you so much more money. So now you're going to be able to dollar cost average into the next card a little faster because you're not spending the exorbitant amount of money on the electricity side of it, and you're saving a little bit of money there. And you're able to buy, you're able to save up for the next card a little faster because you're not getting milked off of older hardware running still. So I mean, it's that fine line at the end of the day, right? That's really what it is at the end of the day. It's like, GPU Jesus, I need a bailout for the horrible kilowatt cost. Yeah. Tell me about it. And talking about bank failures, guys. Oh, let's go ahead and get right onto the meat and potatoes, guys. Boom. Silicon. If you guys have not been paying attention to this at all, Silicon Valley Bank went into a liquidity crisis. Basically, what ended up happening is that Silicon Valley Bank is a bank for the elites. So this is why they're all crying. So this is a bailout for the elites once again, guys. Once again, the mega rich are going to get a bailout, okay? Because the average holder of this bank has more than $250,000 in assets. I'm just saying, that's not a small little mom and pop shop. That is big business, big tech. You have big corporations that are in there holding millions in this bank. This is the 16th largest bank. They are a startup bank. They help allocate capital for startups, and it looks like they have failed. And it's not because they woke up one day and they were doing something nefarious. They weren't. So during COVID, and a little bit leading up to COVID, they were giving out really good loan rates. So the loan rates were low because the interest rates for them, the interest rates were low. So they could sit there and give a low interest rate loan to a corporation, and they were still good. Now that Jerome Powell is sitting here increasing the interest rates, we are now seeing a liquidity crunch, because what they ended up doing was they bought heavily into bonds. So a lot of these banks have a lot of bonds on their balance sheets, and the bonds just went negative. So they need to restructure these loans that they're getting because the bonds just plummeted in price. So with that being said, now the CEOs have no way of really covering it. The FDIC insurance covers up to 10%. So it's capped off at $250,000. So the Biden came on this morning, guys, and said that they are going to help out all the all the people that hold money at the bank. Biden said that he will make the depositors whole. Although the CEOs, the people, the management are going to be fired, and the investors can basically go pound salt. So it's going to be bailing out the people that have their money stored with them. So again, it's a bailout for the rich. Now, do I believe that the people that hold, the companies that hold their money there should be faulted on government bad government policies that have been enacted even during Biden's? Biden wants to blame Trump. Trump hasn't been in office for over 2 years. He can get over this. It's time to move on from that. Trump has nothing to do with this. These are bad policies that have not been corrected even on his watch. He has made them worse overall. Things have gotten far worse under his watchful command. So, it's like he needs to learn to stop trying to blame the guy behind him when it's his time to stand on the stage. It's not anybody's fault but his own. He needs to take ownership of this. So we are now starting to see that. We're seeing other banks looking like they're having similar issues going on, because some of the stuff, some of these places, they have money wrapped up in the Silicon Valley Bank also. This could, if they don't curb this could potentially cause the first bank run in the United States since 1929, fellas. If this happens, it's like there's no way that they're going to be able to deny that this is not a depression. You do not get bank failures during a economic boom. You get bank failures during times of where things are going sideways. And you know what? Times like this makes me glad I am a Bitcoin miner. Absolutely glad that I sit here and mine Bitcoin. Because it's going to give me the freedom to be able to sit there and mitigate the issues, the ramifications of what's about to happen. Because as Biden sits there and says that they are going to basically make the depositors whole, which I'm all for it. But they're going to be doing this out of a fund that the banks have been paying into for many, many years. These are transactional fee funds. So like out of some of the transaction fees that we all get charged when we pull our money in and out of the bank, right? All that stuff that we get charged, well, that goes into a fund. Well, they're going to be using this fund to make the depositors whole. So guess what? We, the people, are bailing them out again. The bank. For making bad decisions once again. And it's not like they couldn't see this happening. I mean, if you don't see this happening, you're either blind or you're on the take. There's no two ways about it. You're either absolutely blind, which means you are incompetent at your job, or you're in on the take. So, and it's kind of funny that with Silicon Valley Bank, the CFO, yes, the CFO is the one of the CEO. Well, I forget what upper position he had. Was it if he was a CEO or CTO? But he worked. He was like a CTO, I think, over at Lehman Brothers back in 2008 when Lehman Brothers blew up. Yeah, we have that person as a chief financial officer at Silicon Valley Bank. Can we connect the dots? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we have a crooked person in the bank sitting there making bad banking decisions because he's trying to sit there and skate the regulatory rulings of laws on things and operate in that gray zone so that he can maximize profit for his investors. The way that they do things right now they're so investor orientated that they forget that they exist to serve the people, not the investors. But that is an issue that they're going to be reconciling here, moving forward. As interest rates go up, more of these banks are going to be upside down because they have given out sweetheart interest rates to people during the last 5 years. Interest rates have been low because their interest rates have been low to borrow, and there's going to be a reckoning. And as Jerome Powell keeps on raising interest rates, we're going to see more bank failures. We're not going to see at this point jobs getting blown out of the water because the government's going to step in and bail it all out. We are now entering in on a very, very slippery slope, guys. And I think that's some of the reasons why we are seeing the market green. Because the way that Biden just responded this morning was very bullish on assets that are going to protect you from what he is about to initiate moving forward. Jerome Powell increases interest rates. We're going to have more loan defaults, more bank failures, more money printing, Bitcoin to the moon, guys. I'm just saying. And now where this proverbial moonshot is, I have no clue. But it is going to be an asset that's going to be reaching for the stars very quickly. We're going to see gold and silver doing the same identical thing. What are you guys all talking about? Iceland stopped their government from bailing out the banks and then threw the politicians out and the bankers in jail. Yeah, I wish they would do that here. We need to clean the house. I've got a bailout location where when it goes south, everybody else should have one as well. 100% key point. Everybody needs to have their, I don't know, you can call it a bug out, plan B, whatever you want to say. If the world goes sideways, what do you do? Are you prepared for it? That just kind of depends on what happens, We have governments that have lost their mind, and they are putting the people, the very people that they state that they're trying to protect at the most risk. They're trying to keep everybody divided and at war with each other. If you're not at war with their race, you're at war with their color. If you're not at war with their color, you're at war with their gender. And all this turmoil. And you have smart money looking at putting their money in smart places. And smart places is going to be Bitcoin, gold, and silver. And, of course, bullets. Iceland bankers bet on Greece defaulting just like Lehman Brothers. Yeah. And what happened? Greece defaulted and people died. I mean, this is the economic reality of what's going on. China is in the grip of that happening to them also. I mean, their economy is riding so bad right now. Their major ports of entry are stacked with cargo containers. Shipping out of China now is cheap. I mean, really cheap to ship out of China because they don't have enough exports going on. Why? Because most of the other countries in the world, the governments have been so ridiculous with their loose monetary spending that the people are now worried about basic essentials. A roof over their head, food on their table. Nobody wants to sit there and spend money on stupid stuff. We don't have extra money. We're not earning more money. It's like, and everybody gets to watch their savings dwindle, right? at some point in time, we're gonna see here in the United States I'm thinking that the U.S. dollar, even internally here in the United States, is starting to lose its confidence. I mean, you lose confidence in the banking system, the system itself breaks down from there. You cannot keep a Ponzi going once it's been deflated. I think that I think crypto wise, Bitcoin, I think we're all in a good spot. I really do. Where it goes from here, that's anybody's. And it's hard to say. I'm hoping by spring we'll be sitting at 30,000. I'm hoping. Reality wise, probably not going to happen. Like, don't forget the lead. Yeah. Gonna need lead. But we have very prominent people sitting here like Bill Ackman warning U.S. government, fix mistake in 48 hours or face destruction. Dun, dun, dun. So because what he's seeing is that if there's a bank run here, it's gonna be like a contagion, and it's gonna spread. And when it spreads, the government's gonna wish that they got ahead of this. So that's why Biden had to come out this morning saying that we'll make everybody whole. So I guess FDIC insurance is now infinite. And if they are making all depositors whole at Silicon Valley Bank, there is not enough money in all of the FDIC insurance holdings, all of it, to be able to cover this. The little fund that they have off to the side isn't going to be able to cover this. However they want to slice or dice it, it's going to come out of taxpayers' money, which means that they're going to have to print money, which means they're going to have to issue more bonds. It's like 100K by June. Nah. I mean, it all depends on how this is really going to boil over at the end of the day. We could be seeing we could be seeing in our lifetime the actual meltdown of our economy. We might be watching at the event horizon right now. I mean, it's been 100 years since we've had an economic collapse. I mean, we had it, almost 100 years ago. I mean, there was a big depression in 1921 that lasted like a year and a half before it corrected. But there was no money printing going on at that particular point. And when it came around the second time in 1929, the government responded by printing money, which made the Depression last another 10 years because they printed so much money. Well, we printed money and we weren't even in a depression yet. We printed money because, oh my God, instead of figuring out how to keep an economy going, we shut it all down and paid everybody to be on holiday for a while. And that did cause the depression that we are about to face. I think we're in the precipice of teetering down the abyss of. ISO 222 incoming. Yeah, right. So I'm very curious, where your guys' thoughts are on that. I mean, do you think we are actually at the precipice of an economic meltdown? I mean, is Silicon Valley Bank the canary in the coal mine at this juncture? And just because we have the means to be able to put the canary back on the life support, does it mean that we kick the can down the road a little further? Because we've been kicking that can down the road since 1971. It's like key points, like not seeking financial advice, but I'm trying to figure out if I should start buying things now like solar panels and solar power banks or what. It might be worth it. I mean, it something like that I would say is more of an issue. How can I put it? I would say that would be more of an issue if we were at risk of world war. If we start looking down the idea of actually engaging in World War III, then having stuff like solar power banks and stuff like that, totally worth having. But as far as right now, I would at least, have a way to be able to hold your wealth outside of dollars. And something that's going to hold wealth. Gold, silver, Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, John. They have been gaslighting the media and how bad this is. And the bankers have been trying to sound the alarm, but no media, no mainstream media wants to sit there and cover that. You have places like JP Morgan that have been sounding the alarm bells. You had Goldman Sachs sounding the alarm bells on this stuff. I'm just saying, the bells are being rung, but nobody's listening. They think that, the good times can only last forever. And it's about I have a feeling it's about the good times are about to come to a halt. And we're going to become the richest third world country in the world. So, that's just my thoughts. Who am I to know? It's like I'm just a guy that's sitting there taking my knowledge and just kind of going, it looks like this is happening. I could be wrong. Good God, I hope I'm wrong. Because that's doom and freaking gloom that we're going to witness in our lifetime. I'm just saying. We would actually be witnessing this in our lifetime. An economic destruction. And the land of the great becoming the corruption central of the world. Bro, that's almost like what they're doing, Patrick. But the thing is, now this is my thought. The companies are going to rack up all this debt. The companies are going to default on this debt, but you still have to pay. That's going to be my thought on what happens. Like, they're going to expect us, the working people, to still pay, even though they're not. Because that's just how big business works, right? Unfortunately, I think that's how it's like build up a credit card and walk away. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to work out for the little people like that. Us little people, us plebs, us plebeians are going to get stuck holding the bag, whether we like it or not. And then they're going to usher in CBDC. Because then you'll never be able to know how much currency there truly is, but they are going to swear that they paid all their bills this month. It's like, card is already built up. Oof! But bump. Yeah, I honestly think that they'll do default, but we all pay still. I mean, you can always tell whenever you're dealing with the serfs, or I'm not. No, wrong terminology. You can always tell the ones in power to those who are the slaves, because the ones in power get their debts wiped off, and they promise that they'll never do that again, and life goes on for them. We do that, and our life's over. We lost the house, we lost the car, we lost all means of production for ourselves, and yeah, good luck. It's like, and they don't get stripped of even a tenth of that. So it's going to be interesting moving forward, because like there's going to be a point where the people are not going to be able to pay themselves. They're not going to be able to pay the debt. And when you start trying to take the homes of too many people because you've raised the cost of living far outside of the normal people's hands, you're going to start building up little factions, and it's going to end in like a civil war. I mean, at the end of the day, that's basically economically. If you take away means of production from people, they will fight for what's left by any means necessary. Some of the reasons why I'm in Bitcoin, because, it's like it's my way of fighting for whatever I can by any means necessary. This is my any means necessary. This is a way to give the government a big middle finger and going, I denounce your reality and your control, and I input it with something a little bit more pure, free, and pro-freedom. So, yeah. I mean, we are being in the U.S., we're in the freest nation in the world. Freest. It's not perfect, but you can make tweaks into the system that will greatly improve or benefit you. So you just got to kind of figure out those little life hacks. And for me, and I know a lot of you awesome people, it's all about that Bizzity Bitcoin mining. Yo. So with that being said, I got 9-10 people that are awesome people that are watching, guys. Smash that Lizzity like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you have not. If you would like to have me and Mikkel host your gear at the family mine, guys, get into the Patreon, get into the pseudo hasher tier. In the pseudo hasher tier, there is a perk in there that is very beneficial, especially if you have rigs being deployed at the facility. It'll be beneficial. Just saying. I'm just saying. And get your VIP access so that when we finally get the power in play, we can move. We will be able to move forward with this and open up the doors to all the VIP people first. So you get first dibs. After that, we open it up the doors to the public, and I'm thinking there's not going to be much space left afterwards. And that's my hope and dream at that point, that it just, after that, boom, and me and Mikkel will have an amazing job, amazing career moving forward, taking care of all of your guys' awesome rigs. Where you have full control over your rigs. You can have them sent back to you at any time. You just pay the shipping on that. I'm not paying shipping. That gets expensive. No. But you can always have us ship it back to you anytime you want. It's your equipment. It's not ours. I'm not in the business of trying to take stuff that's not mine. But, it's like, you want it back, 100%. You put in the, hey, I want my stuff back. You settle your debt with us. Boom, you get your stuff released to you. You're good to go. Otherwise, while your stuff's there, we maintenance all your stuff. It's in a nice, clean facility. We'll dedust your stuff for you. Everything gets ran in server cases. We do not take open air rigs. That takes up way too much room. So if you guys don't have server cases, certainly think about grabbing one, or you can just ship us the GPUs, and we can sit there and figure out a good option for you for server cases. We have cheap options. We got creme de la creme options. and kind of go from there, guys. Yo. So that'll be what's up. So if you guys want to take advantage of all that stuff, certainly love to have you in the Patreon links down below. Now, otherwise, if you are new here, certainly at least join the Discord. Links down below. It is free to join. All you got to do is pass the bot test on there, and you get free admission. That's right, guys. So thank you, everybody, for being here. All that good stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And with that being said, everybody drop those FAs in the Chizity chat like Golden Wolf and John Germain and Gundy stuff and things I've been doing here. Yo, because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. Yo, that's right, that's right. So peace out, stay savage, and may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one.